What's up, you mutts? It's another edition of the Kevin Clancy Show. We got Bill Gates getting divorced. We got Britney Spears issuing statements about the paparazzi. I'm in a fight with the guy on the Cardinals right now. We got a big fucking episode for you. I hope you're watching on YouTube. You got to watch me and my dumb face and my stupid, theatrics as we do this. Plus, we got 10 topics in 10 minutes coming up. We're going to have to see some of the assets in there. It's a visual show these days. We're living in the 21st century. You don't listen to podcasts anymore. You watch them. So subscribe on YouTube, KFC Radio, as well as the Kevin Clancy Show. Today on the show, we have the girls behind Britney's Gram. So two stand-up comics, Tessa and Barbara. Tessa and Babs decided to, kind of jokingly in the beginning, break down Britney Spears' Instagram activity, where we were all looking at the Easter eggs and the coded messages, and they kind of were doing it like for fun at first, and then all of a sudden they stumbled upon how fucked up Britney Spears' life is, and they are responsible for bringing the Free Britney movement to the forefront. Like, they are the leaders of Free Britney, which is crazy because it's become this internet phenomenon, and I think at the end of the day, if Britney Spears is ever released, it will genuinely be because of these girls and the Free Britney movement and the public pressure. So an interview with them about all things Britney, the perfect timing for it because Britney just came out and said she wants to officially speak to the courts. She put up an Instagram post saying that she's seen all the documentaries and all the content, and she wants to, fight for her rights. So all sorts of Britney stuff at the end of the show. But we got to talk about Bill Gates, and I got to tell you about the feud I'm in with this dude from the Cardinals. Today, it's all brought to you by Bare Bottom Clothing. I'm sitting here, I'm sweating right now. You could probably see it if you're watching on YouTube. I'm wearing my Barstool Moon Man hoodie. I wish I would kill for my Bare Bottom Clothing shirts right now, either the long sleeve tees or the t-shirts. They are so perfect, man. They look sharp because they're just like solid colors. I got like navy and red and this green, a light blue. But the material, I mean, you're talking to a guy. I'm wearing my own lounge pants right now that are super soft and lightweight, and I got my hoodies that are all about comfort, Barstool Indoors, and there's something about the way Bare Bottom Clothing does it that I can't fucking figure out. I can't even figure it out for my own clothing. It's soft and lightweight, while also not like showing off your love handles and your man tits, and like, so it looks good. Feels even better. I got the long sleeve version and the short sleeve tees, and then I also pair it up with my bare bottom joggers, which are like kind of like jeans but not really. It's like a hybrid. It's like an in-between of jeans and kind of like jogger sweats. I'd say 70% jeans, 30% joggers. The perfect fit to just look like cool, calm, and casual for the springtime. So get your Bare Bottom Clothing right now. And right now you can get a free shipping on your order when you use the promo code Clancy. It's Bare Bottom Clothing, BEAR, like the animal, bottomclothing.com. Use promo code Clancy and get free shipping on that first order. Bill Gates getting divorced, man, is wild. Bill Gates has been this guy, if you're my age, Bill Gates was like the OG billionaire. He was the original world's richest man, not excluding sultans and oil guys over in the Middle East. As far as like well-known Western world type of guys, Billy Gates was that dude, putting up numbers that seemed wacky. I remember he was at like 60 billion for so long. Now he's up over 100. These guys are going to be trillionaires soon enough one day. When do you think the first trillion? I think the first trillionaire will be in the year 2040. I think within 20 years, we'll see a trillionaire. Maybe even quicker. I mean, Elon's already pushing 200. So you're telling me, 5x that? That'll happen in a couple decades. You'll see a trillionaire. But Bill Gates has always been that guy, and he, as far as business and tech goes, but he became a pop culture figure. I mean, and so when he announced his divorce yesterday, I saw Kelly Keegs post about it, being like, "Man, this one cuts deep," as if they were, a celebrity couple, a reality TV show couple, a J-Rod, Brangelina type of thing. But it's Bill fucking Gates. The nerdy Microsoft guy. He and Melinda became so a part of like headlines and news and tabloids and pop culture that they're like a celebrity couple in their own right. And so now their divorce is here, and it's just wild to me that the Bill Gates divorce kind of proves and shows a few things to me. First of all, it's funny that like no matter who you are, when you're in a relationship that's not working, you want out. You just can't do it anymore. Who knows? I don't know. Bill, she was the one who filed for divorce. So maybe Bill cheated. Maybe Bill did something where, there's no coming back from it. Or maybe it was just, 27 years of marriage together and being, too rich and more money, more problems and all that shit. Maybe that happened. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Melinda Gates finally, found Bill Gates up to his like supervillain shit where it's like, oh wow, you really are in this for the eugenics, huh? You really are, trying to play fucking God here. And she found, some evil shit that he was doing in these third world countries. Who knows what the reason is? I can't imagine being. So that let me stop. That proves the one thing, that first thing to me. That's like, no matter what's on the line, if you're stuck in a relationship that's not working for you, you gotta get out. And the thought that Melinda Gates was sitting on legitimately like $100 billion and was like, I could either just keep my mouth shut, keep my head down and grind through this. And like, we won't even be a real couple, but I'll do my thing over on the side. He'll do his thing on the side and we'll play house and we'll play pretend for the public and I'll keep all the money and the empire rolling. And like, nope, she couldn't do it because she had to get out. There's just, you can't stay in these like dysfunctional situations that don't work for you no matter what's on the line. Number two, there's no prenup in the Gates marriage, which is fucking insanity. And I guess it shows that it was like true love, man. In the beginning, you always hear these stories like the billionaire was just operating out of his garage and, you never thought it was going to happen. I mean, Dave was a guy who, when he was together, he didn't have a prenup and it was like, there was no reason to have I remember I interviewed his ex-wife and she was like, there was no reason to have a prenup. There was no money. There was no thought that this was ever going to be a big thing. And obviously now it has become that. And Bill Gates, like, I don't know where they were at, but I'm sure they never really envisioned billions of dollars. But no prenup there is wild. They're almost so rich that it doesn't matter. Having no prenup matters when you're like in the middle because there's so much cash here. Bill Gates, maybe legally and technically he's entitled to keep all of it, but he's going to break her off a ton of cash because he doesn't want to be the villain. And so it doesn't matter. There's so much money to go around there and no prenup doesn't make a difference. But this proves to me, I've said it a long time now, prenups should be universal. You have to do it. You have to get a prenup if you want to get married. It takes all of the stigma out of it. The reason people don't get prenups is because it's awkward to go to your girl or your guy and be like, let's sign this paper in case we get divorced that protects all of us. Because it's the most unromantic thing in the world. You're already planning your demise and you're already saying, hey, just in the course, in the event that this doesn't go well, I want to make sure I keep every fucking dime I've ever earned and I don't want you to touch it. Just in the event that we go from schmoopy to at each other's fucking throats and I want to make sure you don't see a penny of the money that you don't deserve. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to have that conversation. It's awkward. It's terrible. What if the same way you sign your name on the fucking courthouse papers and make it this legal financial union, you also just sign a prenup at the same time that just says if and when this shit breaks up, you get to keep what you're actually entitled to. And you don't get anything that you're not entitled to. I mean, why is that not the case? Why do we take all of your financial earnings and all of your tangible hard work that results in sometimes physical property, like buildings and cars and assets, or sometimes it's not tangible, but it's your company and your income and your assets that are not, brick and mortar. We take all of those things that are logical and rational and real, and we tie them to the most irrational, most illogical, most emotionally based thing in the world, love. It's based on, you tie it all up with your love, which is something that nobody can quantify or describe or explain. It's just love. It's just, you love this person, they could be terrible for you and you still gotta be with them. You can't say no. You want to fuck them. You want to love them. You want to be with them. So Bill Gates has been the smartest, most logical guy ever over here. And then when this woman, she's sexy, she's hot, she's whatever she does, the pheromones, all that, he's willing or has to tie up all of that hard work and all of that success with love. And furthermore, it's all tied into a completely made up social construct of monogamy, where it's like you're going to take your company, you're going to tie it into your marriage, and your marriage is based on this idea that you can only be with this one person because that's what, I don't know, the Bible and religion and social standards has said. So you can do everything by the book financially and business-wise to grow your company and make your money. But then all the way over here, because, I don't know, the Bible says so, or because Hollywood, or because pop culture says so, because just society says so, if you have sex with someone else, or if you don't want to have sex with this person anymore, or if you want separation in any way, well, now all your money's tied up in that. That's fucking insane. Think about, if you came from a Mormon society or another religion or group or place that's just like, yeah, we don't really, monogamy's not that big of a deal. Like, we can fuck other people, you can be with other people, open marriages, all of that. Then you wouldn't lose your money? Over here we have certain rules, over there we have certain rules, and in our world you take all this shit that's important and tie it up with the silliest stuff that we experience as humans. It's just crazy to me. It's my long-winded way of saying, if you just automatically signed a prenup and never had to have if the government just said, you have to do this if you want to get married, the same way they force you to sign away all your shit to each other in the first place, why don't you just have some paperwork that says in the event that it breaks down, we all just go back to our corners, split our shit as it should be, and we're good. Why would you not? Why is that not a thing? Because so many people don't know the fucking first thing about divorce until you go through it. I mean, the amount of people who are like, you're gonna lose half your money, or everything's half. Like, every joke is about losing 50% or half my money or paying alimony. It's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Nobody pays alimony. Nobody pays alimony anymore. We're in a regular society where women have their own jobs and can make their own money. There's no fucking alimony. You have to be like married for a long period of time in a relationship where you don't work, and that person, your husband or wife, is your source of income and your caretaker and provides for you. And after 50 years of marriage, there's no way you could, provide for yourself. So yeah, this person has to pay alimony. That just doesn't happen anymore because there's just so few people who are, stay at home, don't have their own income, don't have their own skills, don't have their own careers anymore. It's just crazy. So everybody thinks, you're losing half, you're paying all your alimony, and so you don't know the difference between child support and alimony and this payment and that payment, so I've gone through it, and a million people have gone through it. The thought that William Gates will be going through this too is I don't want to say it's funny because it's like, it's another couple's demise and the family, they've got kids and stuff, but it's crazy that, certain things are universal. So, like if me and Bill Gates were ever in a room, it'd be like, cheers, man, divorce. Hey, it's a motherfucker, huh? And he'd be like, yeah, sure it is, cheers. And it's like the great equalizer, that we both could be like, women, divorce, man. Except, he's doing it with $160 billion and I'm doing it with like $160. But no prenup on that one is absolutely wild. And then like to compare it to the Britney situation, it's like in that case, there's something where you signed away too much. You put your name on too many papers. Bill didn't put his name on the documents he needed to. Britney Spears somewhere, some way, signed something, agreed to something, or had the courts agree for her where she can no longer make her own money and find her own way. I mean, it's fucking wild, the amount of power that just the right document with the right signature. Like, this girl can't get out of this situation. That's wild. That's some Twilight Zone horror story type of shit where it's like, she had a bad couple months when she was, a young girl in the tabloids, and now she doesn't have control of her own life. And she can't, and I'm like, and you'll hear it in the interview I do where it's like, I would just get in a car and drive and run away. And they're like, no, they can't. There's someone watching her at all times. There's nobody who would let her get in a car. She doesn't have access to the keys. She doesn't have her own cars. And there's no way she can get out of her house without being physically stopped. It's like, what? What is going on? It's inhumane, and it's all because of the legal system and how, you have to find the right judge, and only then the judge can help this much, but can't solve the whole situation. And we talk about it much more in depth with Tessa and Babs. You'll hear about it. But, you know, in the case of Bill Gates, like, no legal document to protect him. And then in the case of Britney Spears, all the legal documents in the world designed to harm her, not to protect her, to you know, ruin her life. It's, you know, it's crazy the amount of power that, you know, just one, you know, some ink on a paper can have, for good or for bad, is crazy. But so I'll stand by, you know, you should never, I feel like you should always have control of your own money, whether it's Britney Spears earning it and saying, hey, listen, just because I had some issues with some drugs and alcohol and made some bad decisions and some weird decisions, weird behavior back, 10, 12 years ago, doesn't mean that I don't get to control my own fucking money. And for Bill Gates, like, yeah, I fell in love with this person and we decided to like work together, and now we're breaking up and she's gonna try to take my money for what? I don't know the Gates situation. It's like they have this foundation together. They clearly work together. That's the other thing. Is like sometimes when it's like the Drake line, like, bitch, he wasn't with me shooting in the gym, when he was talking about Kobe's wife, which Drake has since apologized to Vanessa for. But the thought was like, Kobe was in the gym shooting those jumpers to become as good as he was, to make the money, to have the career and earn the money that he has. And if they're going to break up, she gets to take all that money away. Yeah, that seems like certainly unfair. But then you think about it as like, she was like his rock through, all of that. She raised the kids and she was there for him to like, maybe she wasn't in the gym shooting with him, but she was at home where like it's equally as important, where she was motivating him and loving him and supporting him, where it's like, yeah, they deserve a piece of that. I have no problem in my situation. The fact that the mother of my kids is going to get money based on Barstool is like, and that's awesome. I think it's like she wasn't doing content with me, but she was like, we would talk about it. She knew it in and out. She would help me through like all the mental shit that I was doing. We would talk about it. We would discuss. She would give me feedback, what she likes, what she didn't like. Like, there's other ways to be a part of someone's earning without necessarily doing it tangibly. So like in that case, whatever you deserve, rightfully so, like absolutely. But the problem is when somebody goes overboard with it and takes money that's not theirs. I think just ultimately everybody, whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you are, and unless you are like incapable of making your own decisions, where that's usually where the conservatorship happens. But if you're Britney Spears and you're functioning and you're capable, albeit maybe you're reckless, maybe you're making bad decisions, whatever, as long as you're still capable of making those decisions, you should have control of your own money. Always. That should always be the paperwork you're signing, whether it's a marriage certificate or conservator issues or whatever. It's like, does this paperwork right here that I'm signing protect the money that I fucking deserve? We work so goddamn hard for it, especially here in America. We don't take vacations. We don't take anything lightly. We're losing our fucking minds, mental health, all this shit to get the money. And then you can poof, lose it in an instant because of a paper that you did or did not sign. Anything in life should be to protect your fucking money so that you can spend it and use it the way you want to, because you fucking deserve it, man. So whether it's Bill deserves the money or Melinda deserves the money, they should get it. And Britney Spears, free fucking Britney. We'll talk to the girls in a minute, but first, I am the 1 minute man. I am here to always give you a prize of what's going on in the news and hit you with the short, easy, digestible explanation of what's happening in pop culture and the headlines. So right now, it's time for 10 minutes, 10 topics. We got a new spicy version of it where I got a new set. I've got a new background. So that's officially our new 1 Minute Man spin-off on YouTube. So please subscribe to the Kevin Clancy Show on YouTube, where every week you'll get the 10-minute video, 10 topics, me breaking it down for you. It's just like 1 Minute Man on Instagram, except the extended version where you're going to get multiple topics instead of just one. You'll also always be able to hear it here every week on the podcast. It's 10 minutes, 10 topics. It's brought to you by BetterHelp. So as I just mentioned, the mental health aspect of life is no joke, man. Whether it's a struggling relationship or a hard job or career. In Britney's case, you know, she got mixed up with some substances and paparazzi and bad friends and bad family, and all of this adds up to a mental health situation that, you know, nobody can do alone. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is online mental health help, where you can, if you're not comfortable going to see a doctor in person, you can text them, you can call them, and you can do video chat. It's a modern way to use technology to access affordable and quality mental health care. So you don't have to find a doctor and go see them and sit in their waiting room and wait. And if you're still worried about COVID being face-to-face, you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to be like, well, my next appointment is 3 weeks from now. It's like, when can I text you? Can I just give you a call? Hey, do you want to pop on FaceTime? And I can see you and hear you and talk to you, and you can get help right away. That's what it's all about, man. When, you know, trying to find a doctor, it's like, I can't wait a couple weeks. I'm having a fucking mental breakdown right now. I need help immediately. I need it to be affordable, and I need it to be like, you know, instant. And that's what BetterHelp is. So right now, if you want to get some help, you can go to betterhelp.com/Clancy. That's BETTERHELP.com/Clancy. I need all the mental help I can get. It's something that I had to kind of admit to. I say admit because as a 30-something guy, there's, you know, sometimes a little stigma attached to it. Forget all that, man. Don't be too proud. Don't be too cool. Don't be too tough. Get down with BetterHelp now. And even if you're not going through anything extreme, it's just like going to the gym, you know? It's like you don't wait until your body's broken to go to the gym. You shouldn't wait until you have a full-blown breakdown to get your mental health out. Keep up the maintenance. Go to betterhelp.com/Clancy and you'll get 10% off your first month of help. That's betterhelp.com/Clancy for 10% off. 10 topics, 10 minutes, where we break down the biggest stories of the week in 60 seconds or less. Topic number 1, Bill Gates is getting a divorce. Bill and Melinda are splitting up, and it's about to be a hot boy summer for Bill Gates. The pandemic is ending. Summer's approaching. Bill Gates is worth $130 billion. Oh, and guess what? They didn't sign a prenup. No prenuptial agreement from Melinda Gates, so he's probably keeping all that money. Bill Gates has reportedly hired 3 law firms, not 3 lawyers, 3 law firms to fight for his money, so I don't think there's any lawyers really left for Melinda. There's only one thing left for Melinda to do, and that's fuck Jeff Bezos. There's no other option for her. There's only one guy. She can't take a step down. There's only one guy on his level, and that's Jeff Bezos. So go have your own scandalous little affair. Well, Bill Gates has hot boy summer. It's going to be him and Elon up in space banging these hoes. It's going to be Chet Hayes back here on Earth going to the cookout with some black queens for white boy summer. Bill Gates is going to be everywhere. You're going to see him on Bumble and Hinge, and he's going to be out there on Raya. Can you imagine Bill Gates on the dating apps with these girls just hoping he drops a seed? Watch out for Bill Gates. Speaking of dating apps, topic number 2, we got Ben Affleck on Raya, where a girl found him and matched with him, then unmatched, thinking there's no way it could possibly be the real Ben Affleck. He went and found her on Instagram and sent her a video saying, "Why'd you unmatch with me? It's me."
Naveen, why did you unmatch me? It's me.
Which is just an all-time flex. He's not name-dropping. He's me-dropping. He didn't say, "I'm Ben Affleck." He just said, "I'm me." And to be honest, Ben Affleck, he pulls it off, man. Ordinarily, I would say, like, what are you doing on Raya? Raya is supposed to be the dating app for famous people. It's not the dating app for famous people. It's the dating app for people who think that they're famous. And I'm not just being bitter because they rejected me. I'm just saying that it's not actually really famous people, so fuck off. But Ben Affleck, he can do it all, man. He just finished up dating Ana de Armas, the Hollywood it girl, the mega smoke of the moment. And he's also like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to hang out with this 10 out of 10 on a dating app, too, because I can do it all. I'm Ben Affleck. I'm fucking Batman. I'm ripping cigs. I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts. I'll fuck the A-list superstar, and I'll bang the girl from Raya. Whatever. Speaking of sending DMs on Instagram, topic number 3, T-Pain. T-Pain posted a video on TikTok of all of the unread DMs he's got on Instagram from major people, from full-blown celebrities, blue checks, singers, actors, entertainers, everybody who wanted to get a piece of T-Pain. He's just like your grandma or grandpa, doesn't know how to work the phone. I don't know where to find my messages. Not understanding that your DMs from people you don't follow land in a whole separate section. So over there on that 99 plus requests, He's got messages from the cream of the crop. We're talking Fergie and Viola Davis, major actors, singers, and entertainers who all wanted to collab with T-Pain, and he had no fucking idea they were even reaching out to him. He's just sitting there on his Twitch stream, playing Call of Duty, double tapping around on his timeline. No clue that the amount of money and opportunities just sitting in his DMs there, he has probably forgotten more money than most people out here in Hollywood are earning. T-Pain, check your DMs. Next up, another 60 seconds on the clock, we got Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that last year when the paparazzi caught the picture of him with the sunblock all over his face, that was an attempt to disguise himself. That was an attempt to try to blend in. Mark Zuckerberg, how fucking stupid can a smart guy be? How can someone who has the brains of Zuckerberg to build a $120 billion empire not understand how fucking stupid it is to think that slathering your face with sunblock is gonna be a successful disguise? Like, it was the most, like, it drew the most attention possible to your face. When people put on disguises, you know what they do? They put on a hood. They put on some sunglasses. They cover up their face. They don't put a white face on that draws more attention to you than anything on the beach. Mark, this is the opposite of a disguise. It went super fucking mega viral because of how you looked. How can you be so goddamn stupid and ugly, Zuckerberg? Speaking of weird-ass photos with weird-ass white people, topic number 5. We got this shot of the Bidens going to visit Jimmy Carter and his wife in what has to be one of the strangest photos I've ever seen. I mean, it takes a lot for the Bidens to not be the old white people in any situation. In any photograph with them, 99.9% of the time, it's look how fucking old Joe Biden and Jill Biden are. But not when you step up with Jimmy Carter and his wife, who have to be like 200 years old, and just shrinking at an alarming rate. I mean, these guys, they look like they're hobbits hanging out with Gandalf. I mean, this looks like CGI or something. They look like absolute monsters. I feel like I'm witnessing a scene from Get Out, where like all the old white people are getting together and they're smiling like their thumbs up, like trying to pick out which body they're going to put their brain into next. Just a weird gathering of strange old white people. Shout out to the presidents, shout out to the ex-presidents, and whatever weird shit you guys do behind closed doors when you're shrinking. Weird white people and weird photos. Yikes. Speaking of white people shit, topic number 6. We got this Starbucks order gone viral. Edward ordered himself a venti mochaccino latte with 7 pumps of caramel and 8 pumps of banana, 2 sugars, 3 Splendas, some extra milk, some foam. Just the most obnoxious fucking Starbucks order you could imagine. The receipt, 10 feet long in what had to be like a $25 order. But here's the thing. Everyone's up in arms about it, yet everyone else is submitting their custom order, being like, look how much of an asshole I am. Look what kind of dickhead order I put in there. Everyone in the Starbucks world, universe, is an asshole. Right off the bat, you're drinking Frappuccino mocha lattes. They're all asshole drinks. And then you start customizing it. It's like, guess what? Anybody who walks through the door ordering any of these fucking things are jerk-offs. So I'm not surprised that Edward has the biggest dickhead order in the world, because that's what white people do in coffee shops, okay? You're not even drinking coffee anymore. You're drinking like foamy milk with sugar and caramel sprays. Just go to a normal place and drink black coffee like an adult. Also going viral this week, the tackiest proposal of all time, the Kansas City Chiefs fans proposing at the draft. This dude dropped down to one knee, pulled out a ring pop, quoted Deadpool, and proposed to his girlfriend at the NFL draft round 3, when nobody's even watching anymore. And I know everyone says this is tacky and that this is trashy and no, this is a girl's worst nightmare. Not in this situation, folks, okay? Not for this girl right here. These two are the football couple. And this girl probably couldn't be happier. This is the biggest moment of their life. They went up there together already, and now he doubled down and turned it into their most romantic moment. I mean, face it. In this world, you know whether you're I'm going to get proposed to at the NFL draft or I'm not. If you're not in that camp, this is an absolute disaster. But if you are in this camp, and you know if you are, this is one of the greatest moments ever. You couldn't even possibly come up with a proposal that would make you happier. So congrats to the happy couple. Stop hating. No love lost here between the guys in topic number 8. Another dirty hit from Tom Wilson on the Capitals. This time against Artemi Panarin on the Rangers. This is just what Tom Wilson does. Sometimes it's dirty, sometimes it's just aggressive, but the dude just lays out big fucking hits. The game has changed. There's not many enforcers or goons left anymore. Everybody else is finesse. Nobody else is as big and strong as him, and Tom Wilson just goes out there and wrecks motherfuckers. And every time it's a big debate. You got people saying he should be suspended. You got people saying he should be kicked out of the league. This time around, we had people saying he should be arrested for assault. Then you got the hockey purists who think that you should be able to like kill anybody on the ice within the confines of the game, and everything Tom Wilson does is fair play. Like anything else, it's somewhere in the middle, you know? He's throwing cheap shots, but then Panarin jumps on his back, so you get fucking tossed off. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. You're playing with the Thanos of hockey, the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the game. Don't poke the bear if you don't want to get fucking wrecked by the bear. Another big story in the world of sports this week, LeBron James complaining about the play-in tournament for the NBA playoffs. So let's rewind. Last year, LeBron's on the Lakers. They're cruising to another championship. He's in the bubble hanging out, and he's watching the 8 seed, the 7 seed, the 9 seed, everybody fight over those final playoff positions. He says, you know what? Why don't we have these guys all play each other? 5 games each, and the winner gets in. Well, fast forward to today, and guess where the Lakers are? They're on the bubble. They're a 7 seed, and everyone's saying, hey, how about that play-in tournament? Well, now LeBron James says whoever came up with that shit should be fired. Oh, it's funny how that story changes, huh? It's funny when you're the 1 seed and you want to watch the little commoners scrap for their final spot. But when you're one of those bums in the 7 seed spot, you don't want to have to play any extra games. You played an entire regular season. You earned the 7 seed or the 8 seed. You're in the playoffs. You shouldn't have the 9 or the 10 seed get a chance to scoot their way in just because of a fun little play-in tournament. But fuck LeBron and his hypocritical bullshit. You can't be for it when you're a 1 seed and against it when you're a 7 seed. We'll wrap up with another hypocritical athlete here, Caitlyn Jenner, topic number 10. She's running for governor of California and recently spoke out on the rights of transgender athletes, saying that she doesn't think it's fair for a man to transition to a female and then continue to play in the regular female athletics, which I know feels crazy hypocritical, and I know we're laughing about it, cracking our jokes. It's pot, meat, kettle, it's throwing stones in glass houses, but really when you think about it, who better to speak on this issue than Caitlyn Jenner? Back in the 80s when she was still a man, she was killing it, winning gold. Now she's transitioned to female. She would know better than anyone how she would smoke some of these cisgender girls. I mean, imagine if Bruce Jenner was playing against the females back in his heyday. I mean, he would be annihilating these girls. So Caitlyn Jenner comes out and she says, I just don't think it's fair. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing in sports, is having a fair, even playing ground. I know it's an awkward situation. Do they play with the men? Do they play with the women? I don't know the answer either. But I do know that shit's unfair to the cisgendered girls. All right, that is 10 minutes, 10 topics. Like I said, please go over to YouTube and throw a subscribe my way. Even if you don't use YouTube, you can log in using your Gmail and subscribe that way, and it makes all the difference in the world. I just wrapped up doing an episode of Are You Garbage with Kevin and Foley, and I heard Josh Potter talking on Tom Segura's show Two Bears the other day, like the importance to us as podcasters and them being comics and content creators, like getting YouTube subscriptions is so important. And we are out here like begging for it. And then the audience at home is just like, nah, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. It's like, I wish there was a reverse. We need to do a skit. We need to do a YouTube skit where imagine if I came into your place of work and it was like, hey, can you just do this totally trivial thing and it'll help my job as an insurance salesman like go through the roof? And I was just like, nah, fuck you. Fuck that. If the tables were turned, I think you guys would be like, oh shit, I gotta go subscribe. It's funny, once you're in the position I'm in, when I see things on YouTube that I know took a lot of work, I'm like, oh, that must have been a long edit. That must have been heavy production. Oh, this guy is really like wrote out this script. I'll subscribe. Even if I don't want to watch any further of your shit, it's just like, you earned it. You deserve it. We fucking deserve it. So anyway, throw us the YouTube subscription. That's the Kevin Clancy Show and KFC Radio on YouTube. Now it's time for the interview with the Free Britney girls. We got Tessa and Babs. to break all things down, all things Britney. They're going to break down for you. They've got the inside scoop on all of it. They've got a new podcast coming out this summer called Toxic, where it's not, it's not fun and games anymore. We're not like cracking jokes about Britney's situation. They're trying to like help solve this case and fix this situation. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think they're going to do it. I don't know them personally, but I think they're going to get enough high-profile people and maybe attorneys involved that I think they might end up being the reason why Britney Spears is actually once again a free woman. We'll see. But the interview today is brought to you by Kendra Scott. I got these Kendra Scott boxes right here if you're watching. Kendra Scott for Mother's Day. Kendra Scott is a high-quality, affordable online jewelry store where you can get everything from a nice pair of hoop earrings to a nice pendant. You can get rings, and here's the nice pendant. It's all tangled up right here. All of it comes in this in the nice pouches with the yellow box, and it's all affordable. It's easy to purchase, easy to pick out, and they've got everything that a modern, stylish girl is going to appreciate the look. Ranges in prices, ranges in different stones and gems and colors and white gold, silver gold, all of that. And you can get it all right now at Kendra Scott for Mother's Day, whether it's for your mom, whether it's for the mother of your children, the baby mama in your life, your aunt, your sister, anybody who has given birth and has raised kids deserves a little something special this Mother's Day. Ooh, I like that. The heart pendant and the matching heart earrings. Nice little combo there for you. All of it high quality stuff and affordable. When you go to kendrascott.com and use code Clancy, you can get 20% off. Some exclusions apply, but for most of this stuff, you can go to kendrascott.com, promo code Clancy, now through May 7th. So get on it. Only a couple days left to make sure you get it in time for Mother's Day. It's the #1 spot for women's jewelry right now. It's kendrascott.com, promo code Clancy. Let's talk to the Britney's Graham and Toxic girls, Tessa and Babs. Girls, let's get right into it. We got Tess Barker and Barbara Gray on to talk Britney, and could not be better timing, because our girl has decided to just step the fuck up and say, let me do this. Yes. So first, before we talk about that, just a little background. You guys have just been at the forefront of all things Britney, the Free Britney movement. Was that just like started as fans and kind of like took note, or like was this more about the case and what's going on with her and the justice side of it all?
It's kind of a crazy story, actually. We started Britney's Graham. Babs and I know each other from doing stand-up, and honestly, we started the podcast as a joke.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like it was kind of more like lighthearted almost at first, right?
Totally.
Oh,
yeah. We were just like, oh, it would be really stupid. Let's start a podcast only about Britney Spears Instagram posts. Well, I thought it was like a funny idea. Yeah.
And I honestly, I felt bad. Like there were times where her Instagram was just objectively funny and weird and interesting and intriguing. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then as I started to learn a little more, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is fun. I shouldn't be making fun of this. This is really dark and deep. And like, I just can't believe it took so long for it to really come to the forefront. So you guys kind of had a moment, I'm assuming then, where you were like, wait, we can actually maybe help here or talk about, things in a more serious light.
Yeah, pretty much. So sort of the original premise of our show is like the comedy was supposed to come from us taking what we thought was a very mundane kind of thing and taking it like super seriously. So
right.
At first we were just we would just overanalyze the doorknobs on her kitchen and be like, oh, okay, that's her kitchen in Thousand Oaks. Or we were just being dumb, really.
Right.
But sort of as a function of that, we had these half-hour, 45-minute episodes where we were just taking these deep dives. So that kind of like led us down this road of critically thinking about, the more we talked about Britney and her situation, the more we did seem to be touching on this situation where, oh gosh, this woman really seems to have a lot of her freedoms restricted.
Right.
Why? She's Britney fucking Spears. Why is she posting about, I wish I could have lunch there? What do you mean? You're Britney Spears. Why can't you have lunch there?
It's one of the most like bizarre pop culture stories / true crime, criminal justice, whatever stories like ever. And I feel like I kind of stumbled into it a little bit as a joke as well. I've been doing these like Instagram quick videos to just kind of keep people apprised of what's going on. And the reaction from Britney fans is like nothing I've ever seen before in like any of my other work, where they are so rabid and so like thankful, and they will latch on to anybody trying to like help the cause. So did you guys feel that, like, you know, you might be just joking around, but all of a sudden there's like thousands of free Britney people, you know, in your mentions or DMs or whatever, being like, yes, like we need more?
Right. Well, basically what happened is, you know, we were investigating the conservatorship, and then we got, we got like a whistleblower voicemail, and this guy left a voicemail saying like fucked up stuff was going on. That was back after she canceled her residency and had kind of disappeared.
And this was someone like kind of on the inside.
Yes, this was, yeah. He left a voicemail saying he was a paralegal who had worked in an office that worked on her case. And that's what like went, that's where Free Britney went. Woo, that's what happened, is that got released, and then it went totally like, wild from there. And the movement, people have been saying,
wait, sorry, let me just interrupt. So like you guys got that voicemail individually. So you're kind of the reason why Free Britney movement is like at the forefront.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very. I mean, there's because I know like Heather I know there's other comics and other people, and like I didn't know that you guys are like the ones that really set it off. So like, good job with you.
I mean, so, it's something that fans have been talking about for a while. Since 2009, there have been people on Twitter saying Free Britney, and this is obviously a situation that I think people that have really been paying attention to have been questioning for a while. But I mean, yeah, Babs designed that pink graphic.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so like this, so you guys are responsible for it all. So you get this voicemail, it kind of explodes, and then take it from there. So what's the next step after that?
Yeah. So like you said, it explodes, and basically everybody was like, it confirmed, I think, a lot of suspicions for people, and Free Britney was just on the move from there. There started being rallies at her court hearings, it just kept getting spread around, and then Framing Britney Spears really brought it to the next level.
Right.
And yeah, here we are now, and we're making a new investigative podcast called Toxic, and that'll be coming out early summer. And Framing Britney Spears was amazing, but it's like just the, tip of the iceberg. So we're like really going deeper into everything.
Which is what I think is crazy for some people to think that, like, I think for the general public, the average person, that documentary is like, what? Mm-hmm. And the fact that that's the tip of the iceberg is, crazy. But of course it's the tip of the iceberg, because we're talking about a girl who has, generated hundreds of millions of dollars in her life, who is, at worst a little bit quirky and obviously like depression issues, but certainly not incapable of making her own decisions. So of course there's 20 million more layers to this. Mm-hmm. It's like, and I can't even imagine you guys got to be, I'm involved in this like 1 billionth of you are. And I'm like screaming at my computer and yelling at my phone. And I'm like, how is this fucking possible? I can't even imagine knowing all the stuff that you guys know. And like, what do you do? What can anybody do?
I mean, I think we feel like the best thing we can do is try to get this information out there in a digestible and understandable way, because one thing that we've realized in a lot of our reporting is like, this is so much bigger than Britney. This was able to happen in plain sight because of serious problems in our legal system, serious problems with the entertainment industry, and serious problems with the medical industry.
Right. Well, it's like, what was that movie that just came out with,
I Care a Lot.
Yes. Where like, I mean, that movie went off the rails at some points. It got so silly, but I'm like, I'm sure this kind of shit's going on. If it can happen to a girl who's as famous and prominent and as successful as she is, I can't imagine what's happening to the, underrepresented people in society, where it's like, they can easily get swept away. Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So we've been focusing on that as well, and just kind of like trying to show this, it's pretty dark, it's a pretty dark underbelly of people getting taken advantage of.
So are you guys like, I mean, you started out, like you said, doing stand-up comedy. I'm sure, that's still a joy of yours, but have you just like flipped the script to like vigilante justice heroes? I mean,
we're comics. We're comics, I think first and foremost, but Tess has done investigative stuff in the past. So it's like, we're putting all our energy into this right now, and comedy will always be there. We have another comedy podcast and stuff too, so we're just kind of playing both roles.
Priorities. Let's get Brintney home, and then
exactly.
So the big news, which is perfect timing because we had set this up a little while ago, and I feel like unfortunately things had simmered down a little bit, at least in the big public discussion. But now Brintney comes out, makes this statement that she wants to speak before the court, which is like doing them. My question is like, why did it take so long for her to like, if all it took was her saying, I want to do that, and they listened, why did she not do it earlier?
That is a great question. And I think one of the most upsetting and disturbing things about Britney's case is that for all the fact that she's this huge celebrity that has ostensibly access to all this money, her money is being used for fancy lawyers that her dad is using to keep her in this situation. But she's only had access to this one lawyer this whole time, this guy, Sam Mangum. And so that's the only person who she's getting her legal advice from. That's the only person who could ostensibly be like, yeah, if you want to get out, you have to do X, Y, and Z. We just have to take his word for it, that if she has said in the past that she wants him to fight it, that he's going to tell the judge that. So that's a huge question that we have.
Yeah, I mean, like, so she says, I want to speak, and then it's already set, right? Or within 30 days it's happening?
It's June 23rd.
Yeah, it's 2 months. They said 30 days, and, you know, she was like, she said, I want to speak on an expedited basis. They said it for June 23rd. So it's also like, okay, well, that's 2 months from now, you know. I hope that nobody's trying to influence her to a certain way in between now and then. So
or they're making moves on their end in the next 2 months to block it, or I mean that's always going to be the system, right? Where things just take, 8 weeks for whatever fucking reason. But the fact that she was like, all it took was her being like, hey, I'd like to talk. And they're like, okay. And it's like, whoa, we could have done this in 2010, like, what? It's just,
I don't know why they didn't just allow her to speak at the last hearing. She could have, she's a conservatee. She could have spoken. So it's very frustrating because we don't know, I don't know what she's going to say. I mean, I hope that she's able to speak freely and speak about what she's going on, how she feels about it, but we don't know what's going to happen there. So
do you think there's any substance to the like coded messages and the yellow flowers and the changing of the captions and some of the things that did seem like a little suspicious and a little bit like, wait a minute, but also it's kind of like when, what's the phrase, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. When you're looking for it, you'll make anything look that way.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of ironic because we got into this situation by putting probably too much stock into her Instagram, and now we barely look at her Instagram, honestly, because we're just so buried in court documents and things that we can see went wrong with her legal case. So I don't know. I don't know how much stock that we put in the yellow shirt of it all, but like that said, her Instagram is still sort of the only place that she can express herself. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's trying to get some kind of message out. And I think she's obviously on strike right now. So like she can't perform. So I think that's why you see her dancing so much, because that's like the one place she has an outlet to do her art.
Yeah, I feel like my thought was kind of like if she was actually using, if there was any coded messages, wouldn't she just be a little more blunt about it in her posts and be like, fucking help me?
Yeah, like some fans think it's trolling either from someone else who's posting for her or her herself, which, I think if it was Brintney deciding to do that, I think could be kind of funny, but also frustrating because people are like, but wait, just tell us what's going on. So yeah, we don't put a ton of stock into the Instagram posts anymore. We're kind of focused on other stuff.
Makes sense. But I also always think like, what other pop star is out here? This is not normal. No. Ariana Grande is not out here like, yeah, don't worry guys, here's my proof of life video.
Yeah, that like if there was enough of a acknowledgement that something's going on for her to put up a post being like, I'm fine, it's okay, then why are you also not able to expand a little bit on that post and explain what's going on? And so I guess, do you guys have any insight on like, if she's not allowed to control, any part of her life, does she have control of her own social media?
So from what I understand is that there is somebody that she at least goes and like submits her post to. I don't think that she has the login to @Britney Spears. which I think is not uncommon for celebrities to have someone else manage their social media. So I do think that there is a third party who ultimately does the posting for her and does some kind of curating. I think there are probably some posts that she has nothing to do with and doesn't even know are being posted. But some of them do feel like her to me. So this is just my opinion, but some of them do feel like she probably just said, yeah, post this picture with this caption, and then they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, her Instagram, I guess, is technically owned by one of the companies that her father owns under her conservatorship. So some people talk about that being like a weird, conflict of interest, like she doesn't actually have access to it. So I don't know. It's very mysterious, but I think there is definitely at least one level of between her and posting.
Her father, what a bag of shit that guy is, huh?
Oh.
He just sucks, right? Like there's
Yeah.
nothing. Is there, I guess it's a like a kind of a two-part question. Like, is there any thought that maybe she does need some help, like some sort of light conservatorship, if there is something like that? And is there anybody in that world that has her interests in their mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly possible that she may need help with something. I mean, a lot of people need help or support. I imagine a lot of celebrities need a lot of help. It seems like a real mind fuck to be someone that's that famous.
Especially when you're a child star, like you just have no shot of being normal.
Exactly. But what we've learned is like conservatorship really should be a very last ditch effort because of how serious it is to take away someone's civil rights. That's a huge fucking deal. That's not something that should be done lightly. And there are tons of things that there's power of attorney, there's supported decision making where you have people that kind of walk you through financial decisions and stuff like that, things that are a lot less legally restrictive than conservatorship.
Yeah, and she's also technically in the wrong kind of conservatorship. So the one that she's in, basically you kind of have to prove once that they should, quote, be in it, and you don't have to do it again. There's another kind that she should be in that's a mental health conservatorship where they have to go to court once a year to say, hey, this should still be happening. If that was what was going on, that's what they should have done. And, checked back in every year and had to prove that. But they only had to do it once. And apparently, this is so weedy, but there's like this capacity declaration they're supposed to file, which is the thing that gets you into a conservatorship. And we just found out that there apparently wasn't ever one ever filed. So it's like, there's just thing after thing here that's like, what the fuck is going on?
So was it initially just like a sleazy judge who like how does that, if they're not filing the right paperwork, if it's not even the right sort of conservatorship, there's really no grounds for it. Is it just like corruption from top to bottom that this happened? Is it a Britney Spears hater? Is it a chauvinist judge? Is it like, how does that happen?
I mean, we hear that basically the judges give a lot of weight to the court-appointed counsel. And so the attorney that Brintney has, who's the only one she's had access to for 13 years, she tried to get her
$10,000 a week.
Yeah, he makes $10,000 a week. She tried to get her own at the beginning. They said she's not capable of choosing an attorney, even though she wanted to pick a different person. So this is the only guy she's ever had access to. He told the judge in the beginning, look, she's not capable enough to choose her an attorney. And we've heard that the judges really just kind of go along with what these attorneys say because they do the work for them.
And it all starts back when she, shaves her head, has some problems with drugs, has a little bit of a public meltdown. So the they that we keep referencing is just like the lawyers and whoever in LA or whatever who look at her and say, here's a girl who just doesn't have control. We're taking over.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, and I think it's important to put into context just the amount of Britney Spears news that was around at that time. I mean, they were reporting, like the LA local news was reporting what Britney was up to, like it was a fucking car chase every day. So these people that conserved her, they don't live in a vacuum. They were consuming that news, and they, Britney's, I mean, at one point, I mean, I don't know, I lived in LA in 2007, and you would just always hear about Britney Spears sightings.
She was like fucking Bigfoot. It was like a phenomenon, right? And I'm like, I mean, watching Framing Britney Spears was crazy only because I'm 36, so I was old enough to be understanding what was going on when it was happening and didn't think anything of it, like I think it's so funny that the leave Britney alone meme guy was like this joke. And then, 15 years later, we're like, that motherfucker was right. Like we should have been listening to him.
Totally.
We're the idiots, and it's like, I guess I feel like I'm like, damn, I was played because I saw her shave her head and I saw the the picture with her crazy eyes, and I was like, there's a crazy person. And I was like, no, there was a person who is a child star who has some issues and blah, 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 blah. But I don't think that she, should have had her life taken away. But it's just crazy how, 10, 12 years later, whatever, a lot of society has like shifted the way they view it to be like, wait, it's actually as bad as things have gotten in society. It was kind of encouraging to see how many people were like, hang on, this kind of is fucked up. We need to like re-examine this. Cause I feel like the public is pretty much like, there's no public figures being like, no, keep Brintney locked away. It's just the people in the system, right?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I mean, I do think though that, and it's been great, especially in the wake of the documentary, there were so many big celebs that were like, yeah, free Brintney, but there is still sort of like this culture of silence around the situation. And I think that's sort of where the entertainment industry comes into play, is like the people around Brintney are very powerful in the entertainment industry. And Brintney's not their only client. And so I think that people are compelled to, no one is saying keep Brintney conserved, but I would like to see people be a little bit more vocal about what's going on.
I mean, who has been the largest star to speak out?
Cher's been the one. Yeah. I mean, without having, she did say that it was like an open secret in Vegas that there was fucked up stuff going on, but I don't think she has like direct, knowledge about stuff. Yeah. But Cher has been very like anti-Jamie Spears. I love Cher. She's like all about it.
Yeah, I mean, who would know better than her, right? Like another female megastar who knows how it goes.
From a young age, who, they tried to screw over at like every opportunity.
Which I think is such a huge part of this too. Like, if you're a guy, you're, the Robert Downey Jr.'s of the world, the guys who have drug problems, who have abuse problems, whatever. And it's like, no one's locking them away.
If Robert Downey Jr. shaved his head, do you think anyone would have given two shits about it?
Wasn't he like crawling into people's beds in the wrong home? And I mean, he was doing crazy shit. And, now he's America's sweetheart, and Britney Spears can't, decide where she's eating lunch. It's
exactly. I mean, look at Charlie Sheen. He's in charge of his fucking money.
Right.
I mean, come on. But I do think part of that is just like the level of saturation that story had in the media. It is just so burned into people's brains that I think we almost perceive it as having been a bigger deal than it actually was, because we saw so many pictures of it.
Yeah, like, I mean, when I rewatched and it was like, okay, she shaved her head, which I think is a weird thing to do, but I think it made perfect sense, where she was kind of like, I'm not gonna look the way you want me to look, and like a little act of rebellion. And then she attacked that paparazzi dude with the car with an umbrella. Like, and the one time she had the kid on her lap when she was like, I wanted to get the fuck away from the paparazzi. Like, everything was, looking back on it, I was like, that was not really that big of a deal. And I was somehow led to be convinced that it was.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what level you think that those were issues, there is absolutely no way that this woman should still be persecuted.
None.
For 13 years later for
none of that
decisions in her 20s.
None of that even comes remotely close to taking away someone's decision-making ability for their own life. So who do you think is the biggest villain out of all this? Dad, that paparazzi guy, when on Framing Britney Spears, when the producer was like, how about when Britney Spears said, leave me alone? He was like, never in our encounters did she ever say, leave me alone. And they were like, how about this time when she directly said, leave me alone? And he was like, well, no, it wasn't really like that. I mean, that guy, I could strangle him if I saw him.
That was one of the most satisfying moments in the documentary.
Oh, it was amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so good.
I think there's a lot of people at fault in the story. I think right now, currently, all the people who are actively still making money off of her being in the situation are the most problematic. Her father, her father's lawyers, her attorney. These are all people who stand to profit from her staying in this. And those are the people who, need a light shined on them. I mean, her business manager, Lou Taylor, was part of helping her get into the conservatorship. Her manager, Larry Rudolph, stood by for many years. So these are people who are not as called out because they've done a very good job at kind of, keeping their hands clean, a little bit more clean, but they're all at fault. They've all made money off of her being in this.
Where is like Jamie Lynn? What's the deal with like her boyfriend? Like why is her boyfriend in on all this? She's dating that guy still, right? Or no?
Sam Asghari. Yeah. I mean,
like, wouldn't, if I was dating Britney Spears, I would be like, let my girlfriend fucking go. Like, if he's as complicit or as much of a problem as any. Like, it makes me feel like he's part of the issue, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of like, I agree. Did you see that thing where he kind of went off on the paparazzi and he was like, fuck Jamie Spears, Jamie Spears. I think that was sort of his attempt to be like, hey guys, I get it, but it's like.
But why not just say it? Are these guys like, are they fearing for their life or something like that?
Well, you know? I mean, you have to remember, she has to get permission to see him. You know what I mean? So yeah. I get the impression if he did go for it, I don't even know if she'd be able to see him after that. Mm-hmm. So it could be a safety thing. I don't know. I
just feel like I'd be like, I'll sacrifice that for like really putting, you know, your feet to the fire on this. But I guess if you felt like you were truly helpless, it's like, if I can't actually get anything done, I might as well still be able to like see her and help her in the ways that I can. It's so much easier to play it on the outside here. Here's what I would do. But
yeah, because like at least he can see her now. Like I do think that like he makes her happy, and that's like one person in her life who I think that she does enjoy having her. So it's like I do understand where he's coming from, but I agree. My husband would be like on the fucking courtroom door, I think, like not letting anyone leave until I was
100%, like physically, you know, doing whatever I need to get in front of a judge or, and I guess the thought that most of the public has is that she is medicated to the point that she really kind of just goes with the flow. Is that kind of the truth behind it? Or is it more like I'm helpless, so I don't even try? Or is it that she's truly like out of it mentally?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say anything about that. The only thing I can say is that I think she has tried to fight it in the past. I can imagine she probably feels pretty exhausted and tired of trying to fight it at this point. So like I could see her just being like, fuck it, here I am. I'm just gonna go with it, you know?
Yeah, I guess you just give up. You're broken at some point. You're just like, but like, what would happen if she just grabbed the keys? I guess she just can't even access keys to a car. She can't get out of her house. She like physically can't do those things. Like if she were to just try to run out the front door, there's just security that stops her.
I mean, there's security. Part of her conservatorship is that they can hire her security guards to watch over her 24/7. That's in the court papers.
Yeah,
it's crazy because I'm like, you know, if it was me, I'd lead the police on like a high-speed chase until like, you know, I would do something so outlandish. But it's like, I guess if you can't even get to that point where you can't get behind the wheel, you can't get on your Instagram, you can't. I guess it's just they've thought of all of this to keep her in check.
Well, yeah, and you know, a lot of people have a lot writing on a lot of this not coming to light. Mm-hmm. So that goes into the Instagram stuff too. I wouldn't be surprised if there's someone there kind of like directing the narrative. A lot of people have a lot on the line here.
Where's
and also
mom?
It's like her mom is fighting, but her mom is like super outmatched legally. Her mom, Lynn, is the only one who's not using Britney's money to pay for her attorneys. So Lynn.
So shout out to Lynn.
Right. So Lynn's mom sells like skincare products. That's how she makes money. So she's literally trying to fund this huge legal battle. Yeah. And she's going up against Britney's entire estate.
Right.
Yeah, like oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna
Lynn like recently tried to say like basically one of Jamie's attorneys got paid to like make some, you know, TV appearances by Britney's money to support Jamie. And Lynn said, no, I don't want to pay, you know, she shouldn't have to pay for this. And they came out saying that doesn't have Britney's best interest. Like she says one thing and they come hard against her to make her not say anything again.
I thought the weirdest thing in the world is how they named their kid Jamie Lynn. Jamie, like
it's very confusing when we're writing the new podcast and we're like, okay, we have to make sure people know we have to separate the names.
Jamie Lynn. Yeah, I mean it's wacky. So I feel like if I was a like a hotshot attorney, if I was a up and coming judge, DA, I don't even know the right terminology, but like I would make this my thing and be like, I'm going to free Britney Spears and I'm going to be a goddamn legend. Like I feel like it's going to take something like that where someone wants to take this on, maybe not even in the best interest of Britney, maybe just in their own interest, but it's such a high profile thing at this point that I feel like if you want a Netflix doc, if you want notoriety, if you want your own career and fame, like wouldn't this be the case to take on and champion the cause to champion?
It would, but I mean, you literally have to get to Britney somehow. I mean, I don't know. Somebody would have to like airdrop into her compound or something.
But yes, to ultimately do it. But like, if you don't think if someone just started like beating the drum now, being like, I'm a lawyer and I'm not gonna like leave the courthouse, or just some sort of protest or something that would gain steam, especially with the Free Britney movement. Like, I feel like that's what's amazing about true crime these days, and what a podcast like Toxic might be able to do, and what Britney's Graham already did is like, you can solve fucking cases from pop culture podcasts, documentaries, whatever. Like, I think that's almost going to be what it takes to set her free, right? So like, you just need the right celebrity or the right law figure to take this on, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. I'd love to see like a Mal Clooney up in there,
Yeah, right. Like, but for real, I mean, it like, if I jokingly, but not jokingly, I was like, Kim Kardashian, if she wants to be this lawyer and like it's right in her realm of celebrity entertainment, like, make this your one and only thing and become a goddamn even more of a legend than you already are.
Totally. I mean, I wish that would happen. I'm actually very surprised that it hasn't yet.
It's perfect.
Someone, like you said, even if they were just doing it for clout, would step in, and it would be hard to get them to officially be Britney's attorney but I'm surprised no one is making a lot of noise about it at that level. It is weird.
Yeah. There are a lot of lawyers. I think one of the most interesting things to me about the Free Britney movement is like, there's a lot of people that aren't even necessarily big Britney Spears fans that are just like new lawyers, or lawyers in general, that are looking at this case like, what the actual fuck?
Right. If you have any like, just the justice system, and this is the reason why I became a lawyer, to like uphold, it's so fucked up that, even if you don't have interest in Britney, just the case itself is like, hang on, wait a second here,
Yeah, there are a lot of people doing that. They're just not, who were like super high level, but there are lots of lawyers who've joined the movement who have been like using their background to help as much as they can.
So are you guys at this point, like, are you just reporting on new shit you're hearing, or are you taking like tactical steps to try to help here, or are you still just kind of like, we're just telling you the info because we want to keep everyone apprised of it? Or are you like, do you think of yourselves as like proactively trying to free Britney, really?
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing that could get her out of this is if someone petitions to end the conservatorship. That has to be one of the involved parties, So we are just basically trying to put make it, like Tess said, digestible, because it is so confusing. And show like minute by minute exactly like what went wrong here legally and morally. And I think we're hoping that, again, this public pressure that's been mounting will help her.
Well, that one lawyer in the documentary was like, I have never in my however many years seen a conservatorship ended, right? But that's also because it's only usually with like 95-year-old Alzheimer's patients. There's been no reason to ever end one. So it's like, I think that's kind of mischaracterizing it, where it's like, there has to be, it's just crazy. They're like, do you think the judges so for instance, what was it? A couple months ago, she kind of had like a half win, right? Where they brought in that trust, like had some more involvement. Company. And it was like, it was not, the public thought it was a win. It wasn't really. But my point being that there was a judge who was sitting there who made some sort of ruling. And is he or she just not able to be like, and while we're at it, we're cleaning this whole fucking thing up?
She can't address anything that isn't brought before her. So it has to like literally they have to for them to fucking do anything, for her to do anything.
So that's where you're talking, like, that's where I would feel like this is the justice system's problem. Like, we're going to just address this teensy issue of the matter while we all in this room know that we're keeping this woman locked away, but I can only talk about this one issue.
I mean, Jamie Spears has a restraining order against him because he got into a physical altercation with one of Britney's sons. Hasn't been brought up in court. It's insane. Like, the man in charge of her kids are scared of having a restraining order against him. That was never talked about.
That's what I mean. Like,
And where's K-Fed? Where's like the rest of the people in her life that they just are not interested in like taking up her cause?
So K-Fed is getting a huge child support payment. It's actually pretty interesting. K-Fed, so in California, like how they determine child support in custody cases is they take both parents, you submit to the court exactly how much money you're making. The court puts that into a calculator and they figure out who owes who child support. Well, in Britney's case, Kevin's like, Britney lives in this huge mansion. The kids have a really nice quality of life there. I'm K-Fed. I need a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So he goes.
Respect it. I get it. I can't knock the hustle. You bum.
Exactly. He goes to the court. You know, it's not the DJ hustle isn't working quite as well as Britney's career is going. And so he goes to the court. Britney's dad, because Britney is not legally considered an adult, so she's not. It's her dad dealing with her custody case. He refuses to supply K-Fed with any information about how much money Britney is worth. There's a form you're supposed to fill out. He gave it back blank.
How is that allowed though?
I don't know.
So somewhere, so there's got to be some judge or whatever who's getting their pockets lined like illegally, right? Because that's just not allowed.
Well, it's so shady. But I mean, I think the other thing I do think about is like the people who become judges, they used to be attorneys with all these people. So they've all been like buddies since law school.
Right. It's so sleazy. Yeah. So incestuous.
Yeah. I mean, we've personally observed, we go to these hearings and, you know, we've been in the hallway with these people, sometimes hours at a time. And I see that like Britney's lawyer, who in theory should be working, you know, protecting her interests against Jamie's lawyers, they're all like friendly with each other.
Chit-chatting and hanging out. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that I've seen that in my own experiences, but it's not like a life or death matter where it's like they you know, you flip a switch and you play the role in court, and then out of it, we're just, hey, we're professional, you know, colleagues. But when it's something that's like, you know, dark and nefarious, it's like, how can you? The whole thing is so fucked.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You guys like lose sleep over this, or you kind of just like,
oh yeah.
Like you're in so deep, right? I mean, like again, I like take note of it, and I put out like, you know, whatever I can whenever there's news, and even I'm like, what the fuck? But if I was going to the hearings and reading all the documents, I'd be. So you guys gotta like storm the fucking courthouse or something. I don't know. Come on.
We're trying. Trust me, the bailiff knows who we are. We're
I'm sure. Right.
But I mean, it'll be a relief, I think. And I mean, I really, you know, we are making, I think, what'll be a really important podcast. And like right now, we do have all this information that we can't talk to people about, and it is kind of like alienating just knowing all this stuff and trying to process it and put it into something comprehensive and all that. So. Yeah, that is our hope with this project, is that finally it'll all be kind of out there.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's like your gut on where this ends up? You think you'll ever be successful? You think she'll ever be free? You think it just goes on? She's so young that it's like, what are we gonna do this for fucking 50 more years until she dies? Like,
I know. I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but it's gonna be a very grueling journey to get her out of it, you know, even if they petition for her to be out. So I really want to hope that it's going to happen, but it's definitely gonna be a lot of work.
Do you think like when she goes before the court, if she gives some like glowing speech and breaks down and is the perfect blend of like coherent but emotionally broken down, you know, something like that, where could that be enough to trigger like another public wave? Or does it even matter if the public cares? Because it's just the legal system, right? It's like, great, hashtag's trending. You're all so passionate. We don't fucking care.
Right. No, we do struggle with that a lot. Yeah, especially over the last couple of years when we have seen these waves of attention and waves, and it does seem like the tide has turned, where like people at first wrote off Free Britney as like a conspiracy theory, but especially since the documentary, it does seem like people get it. But yeah, you walk into this courtroom and it's like a vacuum where none of that fucking exists.
It does. Yes. That's what's so crazy. I think probably for better in some court cases where it's like, we can't let Twitter hysteria, you know, determine the verdict. But in this case, it's like, can you see, just take a look what's going on over here, Your Honor, you know?
Yes.
So,
I mean, I do think one of the best things, I really, really hope she's out of the situation before this happens, but I do think one of the best things will be when her kids are adults. which will be soon. I mean, I think they're going to be 16, or the oldest one will be 16 in September.
You think that they can, what, just by being like emancipated or being adults, they can speak out and they can help turn the tides? Yeah.
I think a mechanism to, you know, probably help keep her in it is the access to her kids, and they have all control over that. So maybe when that's not an issue, it might be easier for there to be an opening for her to get out of it.
Crazy. What, last question. What's like the one thing or person or whatever you guys wish would happen to like be able to utilize? You know, like would it be Kim Kardashian notices your podcast and says, let me come on? Would it be this person speaks out, or this person gets involved, or this statute of law gets passed, or whatever? What do you think the most useful thing for your movement would be?
I think for Brintney personally, probably the best thing to happen would be for someone she trusts. Yeah, maybe a celebrity like, you know, Cher or Miley Cyrus, or someone who she feels as a peer was able to like sit her down and really tell her like the things she needs to know that maybe her counselor isn't telling her, and just be like, this is what you need to do to get out of this. Like, you know, let's go do this. This is exactly like what's wrong. And you, even if you need some help with money, look, I've got my guy, he'll help you. Yeah. You don't need to be in this thing. You know, I think for her personally, that's probably what would be the most beneficial thing. So like
a powerful, either celebrity or legal ally, you think is what she needs?
Yeah, yes. I would say my number one instinct is that she needs a much better attorney. Maybe that's Kim Kardashian, maybe it's not. I don't know exactly how Kim is in the courtroom, but someone really baller and badass to come in and get pissed and fucking throw his fist down and like be dramatic in that courtroom. Like you said, just raise fucking hell until she's out of this situation.
And is that what you also feel like for your show and your material, like same thing, or is there something else you guys wish you had as podcast hosts and investigators that like you wish happened?
I mean, one thing that I think is a big aim for our show is to shine a light on this bigger issue, because it does happen a lot to older people or disabled people. So there are some laws in California that are being proposed right now. For example, there is a law that's being proposed that would allow a conservative person to choose their own attorney, which, like I said, is a huge issue in what happened to Brintney. So I think that's a big win for the Free Britney movement, and it's like real tangible progress. So I'd like to see more regulation around stuff like that to protect people in the future.
For sure. All right. Well, it's unfortunately, it's also so fascinating. It's like this intriguing thing that I wish like didn't exist, but at the same time, I'm like, teach me more. I want to know it all. So hopefully that's also what keeps people interested in it and keeps it alive and keeps it going. So there's Britney's Graham, which is out now, and then Toxic comes out this summer.
Yep.
Okay. Now that's a podcast.
Yep. 10 part.
All right. Awesome, girls. Well, on behalf of Brintney and the Free Britney fans everywhere, thank you for your crusade here. I hope you're one day successful with it. It's pretty incredible what you guys have already done. So good on you, and thanks for the time.
Thanks,
Kevin.
Have a good one.
Bye.